G'day friends and fans, welcome to Dave Talk Stuff. Now, giving feminists a reality check is quite difficult because even when presented with facts, liberals will deny self. See, liberalism is actually the destruction of self. We find this in 1984, but before then you see clues all the way along. Collectivism is about groupthink, it's a cult. But it's an interesting cult in the first thing they do is accuse everyone else of being in a cult. And they project, well, it's actually a cult of projection. They project all their faults onto others in order to draw people into their cult to further their own need for admiration. You look at who's in the cult. Hollywood. What's Hollywood's biggest claim to fame? Admiration, the desire for admiration, right? The undeserved desire for admiration. The overwhelming need to be paid more and more and more. See, they rise it with baby steps. They don't hit you straight away with the fee for $1 million. They creep it. They start. Remember, was it only 100 years ago? It was only a penny. So if it increased a penny a year, it should only be $1 for a movie. So inflation is grossly exaggerated. Movies are overrated, overpaid. And bring on AI, I say. Bring on AI. Of course, you hear the phrase Trump derangement syndrome. This is I think this is the best explanation for feminism, actually. And we'll see. First off, what is Trump derangement syndrome?
Syndrome truly needs to be studied by psychologists. This is a legitimate mental disorder, as far as I'm concerned. If you were willing to go against your own morals and your own beliefs for the simple fact that an idea might be from a Republican person or it came out of Trump's mouth, so you immediately defy it, you have issues. Like, can't we all agree that deporting someone who's murdered 3 people is probably the good choice? That's probably a reasonable person to deport. Can't we all agree on something like that? As an openly gay person who voted for Trump, this apparently gives them the green light to call me every single homophobic slur you could ever imagine, to make fun of the way I talk, the way I look, everything. And ironically, if I was an open liberal, they would be praising all those things. They would be doing the exact opposite. Oh, I love what you're wearing. Oh, I love what you're talking about this. They are the fakest people on the planet. These people's minds are so revolved around politics, where they go to eat, where they go to shop, what TV shows they watch. They are afraid to show publicly what they're doing in their personal life because they're always wondering, oh, I wonder if this is a Republican-owned business and I shouldn't share my support. Oh, I wonder if this TV show I should watch because Trump said he liked it. They are constantly, he lives rent-free in their head 24/7. They cannot make a decision on their own without worrying about what others think.
Yeah, it's cult of a collective, right? So, to show you how deranged someone is, right? Remember, the worst mental illness isn't the person who's deranged, okay? It's Gary Gridway, who can sit there and smile at you and tell you how delicious you were going to be. Remember, this is a dead-in-the-eye stare. This is the psychotic stare. This is a sociopath. She has no sympathy, no empathy. To her, these are all just words to use to manipulate you.
I have TDS.
She has to cut all this like a Hollywood
Derangement
production.
syndrome. Is that an official diagnosis? According to my comments section, yeah. My
Emotional damage.
symptoms are intelligence,
Self-diagnosis, intelligence. Yeah, we've got intelligence with that dumb face.
most of the time. Critical thinking.
Not a chance.
Accept my taste in men. Empathy.
No, damn it!
Decency. Most of my teeth. This one's fake. I had a root canal and then cracked it on a mint. I just want you to know, if you're suffering, you're not alone. Drop your...
Yeah. So you can see what a complete disconnected narcissist she is. She has no empathy. Those are just words to her. I have empathy. Really. Just ask her about all the children murdered. No, she cares about the illegals. Why? Why? Because immigration's a human right? But I thought you wanted to decolonize. I thought you can't oppress people. No, only white people. This is the complete and utter disconnect, right? She cannot have a series of beliefs that are consistent. And we'll get to that. None of them can. Watch.
Men only got any rights to vote about a decade before women.
The right to vote was historically withheld from men of color.
Straight away. No thought. Programmed response.
It was a white...
It was also withheld from
Listen to
the
me.
general population.
Do not cut me off. I am in the middle of...
See? He was speaking. Was he not speaking first? Hold on.
Fair that men only got any rights to vote about a decade before women.
The right to vote was historically withheld from men of color. It was a white...
Okay, so she's jumped straight away, right? I know this goes on in many things where often in broadcasting you're only allowed a sentence. Okay, you're not even allowed a full proper response anymore. I get it. A lot of people just want snap, snap, snap. But you notice she gives a straightaway response with people of colour. Who gives a fuck? It's their countries, right? People of colour are not native to England or Europe. Yet somehow, they would be held with people of colour because they were not native. You stupid cow. She thinks that you automatically have rights just because you breathe. Okay, rights such as voting are not real rights. You know this. Rights are universal. They don't apply to you because of your skin colour or your gender or where you live or where you're from. That's why you only have a few rights, because they're universal. Privileges are things you can do, like voting. Healthcare is a privilege because it does not come from nature or God. It comes from others. Feminists are absolutely gaslighting you. All they care about is their goddamn privileges.
Also withhold from
Listen to
the
me.
general population.
Do not cut me off. I am in the middle of speaking.
I don't care if you're in the middle of speaking. You're in the middle of a debate.
The right to...
It's not a right. It's a privilege.
You don't have your TikTok mute button, sweetheart?
I will not be speaking anymore until you have a conversation with him.
Mute button.
I did not go to school for 4 years and build a platform.
Emotional, damn it!
She went to school, I tell you. So I am queen.
Be talked to like this, so I will be...
Yeah, well...
Kids, the Royal Order of Sour Grapes for having a raisin for a brain.
She obviously did not know, or does not care, that voting is only a modern thing, and that in some countries, you don't vote. They claim to be democratic, but you don't vote. You don't really vote. This is what people don't understand. Your votes don't count in many countries. Most of Europe is only an illusion of democracy. And people are slowly waking up to that. Mexico. How many murders in Mexico? How many murders in Germany? How many murders in all of Europe right now of political candidates? And nothing is done. Nothing. There's no democracy. There's no multi-party system. There's coalitions which rob you of the highest winner. They go, oh, we only got 6% of the vote, but we get all other parties together who all only got 6% of the vote. We're the majority now. Or Mark Rutte, who refused to step down for years in the Netherlands. No, there's no democracy. This bitch has no clue. No clue whatsoever.
Be walking away from the microphone right now, and I would encourage you to get your guest under control. I'm going to take 2 minutes.
Yeah, and the video died. It happens, and it happens so often. I can refresh it. Now, this one I'll play right through because it really matters to hear it all in one go. She's a sour grape, right? Just totally does not understand the question, right? She totally tried to change the topic of the question. Men did not start off with rights either. Okay, the rights of man. Men fought for rights. Women sat on the sidelines and says, put us on a pedestal. No, we don't want the right to vote. They actually voted against it. It was feminism who just kept pushing, push. That's what they do. And eventually men gave in because we want you to shut up now. Or, like some politicians said, the only way people are going to learn not to give women the vote is to give women the vote. Unfortunately, no one's learned to yank that cord yet.
Delusional, giving good men a hard time, but karma is ruthless. Take a look at this conversation and see how this woman gets a reality check.
Is it unreasonable for me to look for someone who's 170 centimeters tall?
No, that's reasonable.
Is it unreasonable for me to look for someone with a bachelor's degree or higher from a similar university?
No, that's reasonable.
My annual salary is about 200 to 400,000 RMB. Is it unreasonable for me to look for someone with an annual salary of 300 to 4,000 RMB?
No, that's reasonable.
I was born in 1990. Is it unreasonable for me to look for someone born around 1990, plus or minus 3 years?
No, that's reasonable.
I have 300,000 RMB in savings. Is it unreasonable for me to ask for a dowry of 280,000 RMB?
No, that's reasonable.
If you meet these requirements, would you be willing to date someone like me?
I might consider it.
How could you?
Yeah, how could you turn me down? Was actually, I think someone said, right, see, 18. Well, right.
I had to be out of my mind.
Yeah, that's... Right. Think about it. He doesn't need her money, doesn't want her money, and she's not going to give it to him anyway, so why should he care how much she earns, right? That's the first thing. Next.
Think about it. A man with an annual salary of 400,000 RMB, around 30 years old, who has a car and a house, and is willing to give a dowry of 280,000 RMB, and is handsome and over 170 centimeters tall. Wouldn't he look for an 18-year-old?
Yes, right. But it's also reasonable for him to look for someone like me.
I beg your pardon?
If he can find an 18-year-old, why would he choose you?
But I'm more accomplished than an 18-year-old.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
In what way are you more accomplished? You're older and have more wrinkles, right?
That's enough. I don't want to hear
more. See, to women, they do not think about or care about reproduction or your enjoyment or what you want. Women only care what they can get. They only care what they have achieved. They only care about themselves. Even house cats care more, right? This is why it's unfair to compare many women to house cats, because house cats care more about their owners than a woman does. And this is going to show you what motivates women and what they really think about rights.
Have that women don't today.
Going out in public and not feeling like you're going to be harassed, whatever race, whatever gender, whatever, I mean, I know you guys just looked and you kind of like rolled your eyes, but I've been sexually assaulted, and by someone I didn't know and by someone I did know, and
things that didn't happen for $500, Alex.
I have been approached in public areas, and my voice was not enough to tell them to stop.
Women, statistically, it's not even a competition. There's so...
Yet you vote for these savages to be let into the country. And when they commit savage acts, you excuse them. You will get them released early from prison. You vote against Republicans who want higher penalties for criminals. You literally want open borders. You literally, as judges, pass lighter sentences on people of colour because they're historically oppressed. Yet you actually then have the nerve to sit down and say, we don't protect you, when we tried. And what did you do for trouble?
Every day for the past 30 years, you high-heeled pit bulls have blamed us for everything. From not being able to get into Harvard to not being able to get into stretch pants.
So much more of a struggle. We are so much more at harm than men, and it's not even an argument.
That should be because we are women, and that our biology are making us like more vulnerable. So
my biology.
Yeah, who dies more in the workplace? Who goes to war and dies more, right? Who gets protected? Who is protected? Who has so many laws protecting them? Yet it's not enough for nose ring here, because their mental illness, their fears have to be alleviated. Right? It's now about their
emotional damage. That make me more susceptible to be attacked at night.
Well, no,
that's just
right. So it's all, yeah. But again, when you talk about who's doing the attacking, they tell you to shut up. You're a racist, Islamophobe.
Okay, can I just say this? I just would like to say this.
You know, they're not talking to the Muslim woman about the Muslim world and rape culture, bestiality, stoning, beheading, the various legal rapes that go on, the abuse of children, child marriage, or what about Africa? And ask her about the deaths in Africa of girls between 11 and 13 from childbirth, abandoned. Because the family, older women getting their younger girls pregnant to take the babies so that they can get more aid. And don't blame capitalism. Capitalism did not create greed. Rights. No, it's how we feel.
To me, that's framing it as women don't have the right to go outside without being assaulted. That's not true. And
that's right. We have laws. Lots of laws. Lots of them. Laws do not stop people from being bad. Right? Free will. That's what they want to eventually remove. Do you not get it yet? They want to remove your free will. Not theirs. Yours. So they can feel safe. And then women are going to say, can you blame them? But your lack of regard for men is why men developed the lack of regard for women in the first place. There is always causality.
Well, that's not what I meant.
Well, that's why.
Yeah,
in my opinion, I think that of what happened to you is disgusting, and that person, the people who did that, need to be prosecuted. And I hope, and if they couldn't, they can't.
Look at her. She just can't speak. She wants to, and she opens her mouth now and again, but she literally cannot speak. Her cognitive functions are so impaired by fear that she cannot speak freely. Not because of what will happen when she does. It's what will happen when nobody's looking for doing so. Feminists get a reality check, but the reality is ignored by feminists every time. Why?
Kids, the Royal Order of Sour Grapes for having a raisin for a brain.
And that's the horrible thing, and that should be talked about.
Overarchingly, men have the ability to go outside without fear.
Sure. No. Men have acceptance. Like, what have we all suddenly decided? No, we want to be able to dive off a mountain without fear, or drive down the highway without fear. When we're young, we do not have fear, but as we get older, we realize how fragile we are. But we use that fear not to make us desire to control you or overwhelm you. No, most men don't fear women leaving them. Right? It's the ruined nation. Men should have the right to get married without fear. How about that? Get the right to go to work without fear of being falsely accused of rape. They keep talking about this hidden rape epidemic, but they're the ones who hide it because they won't report the people doing it, and they'll take out their anger and frustration later on white men for not protecting them, or that white men have a rape culture because we want to have white babies. We don't want children. This is overpopulated. All they want is dating. They don't want relationships. The anti-sex league, right? Everything Orwell talked about is coming true before our eyes. And the people who have the power to stop it just lie down and say, oh, Trump will fix it. How? When Trump can't get anything through Congress because you won't vote for congressmen with balls, or you won't get rid of these aging senators who only care about the next war.
Okay. There are groups.
Look, there she goes. Ready? And
of men, especially.
And nothing. Every time she goes to speak, there are groups of men. She knows who they are.
Black men that do have fear.
If you fear the police, it means you're a criminal. Normal people do not fear the police. And I mean this, not just black men. There are lots of white men who fear the police, but you ask every time, what do you fear? Well, my drug crops, my marijuana stash under the seat, my speeding. They keep picking me up for speeding. There is a whole swath of problems in society. But look at her. Look at the contempt. She knows that she's lying. They all hate each other.
When they're driving, if there's a cop getting pulled over. But I'm saying that woman overarchingly.
Wait a minute. Overarchingly. Says the word she doesn't know.
Overarchingly, I mean, how many women have, stun guns or have mace or who have some sort of.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how many men, right? How many businessmen, right, have to worry, right, that some arsehole's going to come in and blow their head off for the $5, crackhead's going to blow their head off for the $5 in their drawer. That's why they leave California. That's why, right, they destroy everything. Liberals and feminists are not the same, but they get together along with the Muslims, the blacks. This is what you were warned about, the gays, and even, look, go back to that gay man talking about Republicans. I bet you ask him why he votes against liberals. Because he realises that liberals side with Stone Age savages for power and would gladly throw gays under the bus because there's less gays than there are savages in the world. Because all they care about with democracy, all they care about is having more voters. They don't care about society. They don't care about a culture or a language or the people or demographics. To them, everybody is a native to be devastated by the empire. That is, they literally love oppression when they're doing it.
If I'm going on a date, I have everything.
Exactly.
I'm setting my location, so I'm not taking that away. But it was just like in the contrast to what his question.
And as a woman,
it was just
society,
like not good to the
unfortunate
question.
society.
But you don't think it's a right that
You
men
have the right to
have
be safe.
that
No,
men
what-
have that safety and that innately and
Everyone has
women
that
don't?
That inane right? Not every boy and man is strong. Men get old. Men get overwhelmed by more than 3 men all the time. Men get raped in prison. Men die in the workplace. This sour grapes cunt is just selfish. Which is odd because they are part of a cult that destroys the self. But remember, everything to them is just words. They pick words that Republicans will understand. Because to them, they are not talking to the choir. The choir is converted. They are talking to the people who are not part of their little cult, not part of their little ritualistic games of manipulation. And if you haven't figured out by now, in the last 75 years, feminism has kept moving the goalpost, and they'll keep moving the goalpost. That they keep creating social problems, so they have social problems to fix. Right? They broke down the family. What do? Train university specialists to go out and deal with all these criminals. Where do most of the criminals come from? Young men, particularly people of colour, but mostly young men from single mothers, right? Broken families with no father in the home, no discipline. They're not spanked. They're not given any form of discipline. And then they listen to their mothers lie. They see their mothers, often young men are exposed early to sex and sexuality by their perverse mothers who are dolling up to go out on the town or bringing home men at night, and they hear the humping and the grunting. Sometimes even their mothers walking around at night naked. Women have no real care or concern about anything other than, sometimes not themselves, that it's so focused on what they can acquire. And that is because society has no longer shame mechanisms, no longer has real taboos. Normally when you broke taboos, you'd go for a period of ostracization, and eventually someone older and wiser would talk to you about it. But not here anymore, right? Ever since the 60s, you have had nothing but women being shamed for choosing anything but feminism. Women being told to get an abortion. Pregnant women asked, why haven't you got an abortion? And women being lectured about too many children in the world, and then will turn around and tell you, why aren't you feeding the children in Africa?
And women have roles.
Oh, yeah.
But I do believe that if he wants a sandwich,
you make daddy a sandwich.
Most of the time.
No. Let me ask you this. Well, okay, let me ask you this. If me and you out, and somebody say something slick to you,
you punch him in the face.
You want me to smack him in his mouth, right?
That's right.
So if I take you on a date and I say, look, baby, we gonna go Dutch.
No.
Exactly. If we walking up to the car and I don't open your car door, what do you say?
Open the door.
You better believe it.
Yeah, no, I am with you. I think
so you make daddy a sandwich.
I think.
There it is. It's all you need. All right? All you need. In a nutshell, feminism is hypocrisy. And in case it did not sink in, and that it has, and that feminism is, right?
Biologically normal.
Nature.
I mean, we could argue what is nature.
Today we are at a Kamala Harris rally here in Atlanta, Georgia, if you can see behind me. And you already know what we're going
Freedom! Freedom, everybody!
to do. Ask very logical, simple questions why you're supporting Kamala. Are you voting for Harris?
Heck yeah.
All right. Do you want to tell us why?
Absolutely. I have 2 daughters.
By the way,
see, automatically, look at it. 2 daughters, and she's walking around with an abortion t-shirt. too bad your mother didn't have an abortion. Then see how smug you look. Oh, you wouldn't exist. This is the kind of smug stupidity feminists have. It's a right, I tell you, to kill babies.
We can keep dancing, that's fine.
Oh, okay. We'll just keep in. I have 2 daughters.
See, it's all about their pleasure and their leisure.
They're 17 and 21.
Yeah, and where's the father?
And it's for them. It's for
Their future. What future? Right? You're selling out their future to foreigners.
their future, their freedom, their rights.
What freedom? What freedom do you have when foreigners vote in your elections to elect foreigners? And she's in an election to vote for a Jamaican who's the great-granddaughter of one of the last slave owners of the modern era.
Got it. Would you consider yourself a feminist?
That's a loaded question. Yeah, absolutely.
How do you feel about men competing in women's sports? Biological men competing in women's sports.
Oh, well, that is tough.
Doesn't really mess with feminism?
Is there any way they could do it based on weight? Or like, because I don't really think like your sexual organs or whatever matter.
That's right. After all these arguments about women's rights, suddenly sex organs don't matter. That is the cognitive disconnect where, and Orwell in 1984 explained this so well, where they literally cannot think. They have no ability to formulate opinions. And it's not that society's dumber, it's that they cannot formulate an opinion. This is cognitive dissonance. It's indoctrinated. It is literally fear to give an answer that is not approved by the party. As if you don't get to dance. You have to work for a living. You don't get to go to rallies and be part of the cool kids club. You get excluded. And see, for a long time, because Republicans are so socially and awkward with their... Again, it comes down to what I said yesterday about when it comes to selling your ideas, and I know I'm not scripted, but you've got to understand and see how important it is to actually understand, right, that these people will look you in the face, smile, and tell you how intelligent they are, how superior they are, while they got their, African tribal under the wall. But it's not stolen, or the Native American, or anything, right? All virtue signaling. Right? Look at me. Look at my house. I'm intelligent. And my pronouncer system is not a hysterical overreaction. It's entirely founded. It's ruining the country. I have a bookshelf. Yeah, where? Where's your little bookshelf? What's on your little bookshelf? No. You read books? No, you collect tribal art and, and put it on display and say, look at me, as I tilt my head and make jump cuts. Yeah. Totally processed by AI to say, to totally maximize the emotional impact. Right? Now, they get this from Hollywood, who are trained to do these performances, but they are performances. They are not real. Now, obviously, he's whether he's trained by himself or trained by someone else, he is trained, right? He is groomed, trained, he is calm, collected, he has formed his cognitive arguments to be disarming so that he could get people to reveal their true nature. And she's definitely
emotional damage.
Sex, but like your strength. I mean, there are strong women.
There's no way to get around that. You can get estrogen to be more female, but
That's
you're
true.
still way
That's true.
stronger.
strong will, yeah. Just ask the females beaten by that male boxer who pretended to be a female. She was actually lighter than most of her opponents, but her muscle density, yeah. And then it turned out it was not. Yeah. And she can't. Look, she's trying to, like, she's not thinking, she's recalling.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I just am more progressive, I think, in every way.
I'm progressive. I'm better than you.
How does feminism
She does not think, though. She recalls.
wrap its head around what's happening now, where women's rights are being taken away by men, which is what feminism was initially supposed to be?
Right. Well, I don't know, is there this assumption that because someone walks into a woman's bathroom that they want to be looking at the...
Oh, so there's this assumption, hey? Like, this assumption that all men are rapists? Is that an assumption? Or is it only a bad assumption when you're talking about trans walking into a bathroom? And that's a bad assumption. Even though, quite frankly, how many cases in California? 6,000? Whoops. And yes, I know sometimes I make a case against men. Yes, I am well aware that men commit more sexual assault against women than women. And men commit more sexual assault against men than they do against women. But sexual assault in prison is not a statistic that is recorded or released publicly. And someone in the comment section will eventually appear and say, "Oh, Dave's speaking from experience. Oh, you're so funny. You're so clever." Yeah. But again, this is cognitive dissonance.
Women, I mean, there are a lot of, like, men who are not transgender.
But there's a lot of perverts out there and pedophiles who are going to take that and use that as, say, well, I can be here because...
And again, eventually people will say, "Oh, but who are you to define normal?" Remember, the Democrat Party has activists who want to normalize these things. And so you get this cognitive dissonance where you'll have her totally shitting on you and thinking that she's a better person than you because she has native art. Or some dead animal's head on a wall. "Oh no, but I didn't kill it. It was fair. It's art. It's art, I tell you." But yeah, you make an assumption, lady, all the time, right? You're always, everybody's making assumptions. But it's what you base it on. Where are your assumptions based on? Now, I can tell you, and I could probably sit down and eventually trace where some of these assumptions come from, if I had a powerful enough computer and a powerful enough internet cable, and I was able to go through and script search all the scripts. And I would love to be wrong, but I think the majority of opinions today are formulated from fears presented in TV shows and particularly talk shows, not and news to some degree news reports, but not real life. And remember, media is misleading.
Because I'm, and it's happened many times already.
Well, I see your point, but I also think that it happens just with plain male-gendered men anyway.
But we don't normalize it by saying, well, it kind of happened, so we're going to let everyone do it.
That's exactly it, right? But for the last, since World War II, right, we have been baby-stepped every year, sometimes multiple times a year. We are hit with new changes to society, and we can't map them all in our mind, right? We all forget exactly when gay rights, gay marriage But it goes beyond that. It's not just gay rights. It's not just gay marriage. We hear about the gender pay gap, political correctness, the policing of terms, the opening of borders, increasing migration, telling us how it's an economic necessity. Well, did you know they did a study in Europe? I think it was the average migrant costs $39,000. Sorry, 39,000 euro. Yet, if you gave 25,000 euro a year to a family to have 2 children, you would achieve the population required better, cheaper, and ultimately less crime, right? Than if you just take away foreign aid, stop feeding foreign countries. But because these women say, no, it's a human right, you've got to have a right to food. No, you don't. No, you have so few little rights you do not understand. You have needs, you have necessities, you have wants, and you have desires. But you don't have rights. Rights are very few, very tiny, and you cannot survive on rights. You don't lie in a cave with a broken leg and someone comes along and feeds you. No, you die. It's our compassion, but our compassion is so exploited. It's turned from feeding our family to feeding someone else's family while not having your own. This is the cult of Moloch. To sacrifice, thinking that you're buying this greater heaven, this greater thing in the afterlife. When there's nothing in the Bible that says, little bits, but it doesn't say, right? Well, it does say, talk about, the chances of someone rich, but remember, they corrupted the terms. I think really what it's trying to tell you about, and liberals are so toxic with their empathy, right? Because remember, all these liberal politicians are multi-millionaires, and they only get richer. Ask her if she'd date a poor person or a disabled person. No, she wouldn't. And I wonder how many men she's been with. And how if she's married. She's clearly not married. Right? So she has no loyalty, no love, no empathy. She has what? A performance. Virtue signaling. So, a scary term.
That's the scary term is normalize, isn't it?
But isn't that what you want to do? We have to normalize gayness. We have to normalize trans. We have to normalize illegals voting in our elections.
So it's like, what is normal?
Then they complain what is normal. And then, okay, when you use their own arguments against them, they'll tell you what normal is. Right? Normal is being intelligent. Critical thinking. Really? Where's your critical thinking? Where's her critical thinking?
We want to define as normal,
Male,
and
female.
I think that's what
in this instance, male, female.
Male,
Biological,
female.
natural, male.
But I think that's what you said. The word that is the key word, normalize, and I think a lot of people
I meant that it normalized something that's not biologically normal.
Who determines that? Who determines what's biologically normal?
Nature.
And boom, she's dismissive. She cannot take the answer. So you see what happens when feminism gets a reality check. They can't handle it. They cannot handle it. They have no answers. They're smug. They're glib. They're annoying. They're toxic. They're selfish. They cannot be reasoned with. There is no solving problems until we organise and have a backbone. We have to just be able to say no. Once enough people say no, what are they going to do? Yeah, I reckon a la carte, who... is it a la carte kills? Sorry, a la carte. you've commented on the previous video, and yes, they do turn to force, protests. But as for the UN, no, they're going to try and maintain their liberal facade of coercion for as long as they can, and let the Muslims do all the force for them. But eventually, yes, once society starts to push back, that's the problem. Republicans won't push back not because they're afraid of what liberals do, it's because they know their own side won't back them up. I'm sorry, but that's the harsh reality, and until you change things, so remember, most of the patriots out there as well want society to collapse so they can go free reign, so they can rebuild a better society. Some of them are just as bad as liberals, especially libertarians, because again, libertarians can't reconcile their beliefs. But Christ said, sell your cloak and buy your sword. Yeah. So thank you for your time. Please support the channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support the channel through Ko-Fi, Patreon. Buy my books, buy my merch. I appreciate each and every one of you. See you in the next video, and bye for now.